Gilmore Girls gets therapized. What happens when long-buried hurts are never addressed and resurface in ugly ways? Mended light. Oh man, when we don't deal with things, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger until they explode, right? And this is what happens to Lorelai and Christopher, her ex, her baby daddy, Rory's father, when he comes into town, and they all go over to Lorelai's parents for Friday dinner with Christopher's parents. Now, Christopher is starting to succeed in business, at least so he says, and he wants back in to Rory's life and Lorelai's life, and this is how that goes.
That would be Strobe and Francine.
Your turn.
Haven't seen your parents in quite a number of years. We were practically inseparable for a while.
I remember that.
This is weird.
Oh, man.
These are my other grandparents. I don't even know them. What do I call them?
Call them what I call them. Ass.
Chris.
Sorry, my tie's
Whoa.
too tight.
Just call them Strobe and Francine. Call them Mr. and Mrs. Hayden. Sir and ma'am. Why don't you just avoid calling them anything?
Look who's here.
Hello, Mother. Pop. Christopher.
Christopher, hello.
Mr. and Mrs. Hayden, long time no see.
Lorelai, you look well.
I am, thanks. You remember Rory? You haven't seen her in quite a while.
No, we haven't.
I think she was just beginning to speak in complete sentences.
So not for 2 years then. But she's obviously been talking a long time, so I was making a humorous comment, sometimes referred to as a joke.
I see you haven't changed, Lorelai.
No, not at all.
Rory, hello.
Awkward.
Hi.
Did you just curtsy?
Shut up.
Sorry, milady.
Strobe, Francine, how about a martini?
Please.
Well, Strobe, how is retirement treating you?
Yes, do tell us about the Bahamas.
You can get an entire island there for the cost of a decent house here.
Really?
How about you, Richard? Any thoughts of retirement crossing your mind?
Oh, Strobe, if only you could talk him into it. I've given up.
We're very pleased about Christopher's business success out in California.
Yes, it's taken a while, but it seems to be finally coming together. Seems to be.
Want a little dig?
Your tie, please.
Mom's still controlling?
Strobe and friend, Mr. and Mrs. Are you enjoying your time here? You too?
That she got from you.
How old are you, young lady?
16?
Dangerous age for girls.
Strobe.
Rory is a very special
Whoa.
child. Excellent
Shots
student.
fired.
Very bright.
You should have a talk with her, Strobe. She could give you a run for your money.
Is that so?
That's right.
So sad.
Well, I think my money is safe.
I hate President Bush.
What?
Lorelai.
Oh, boy.
He's stupid, and his face is too tiny for his head, and I just want to toss him out.
That is the leader of our country, young lady.
Ignore her.
His face is too tiny for his head. What kind of a thing is that to say?
I see your daughter's just as out of control as ever, Richard.
Pop, please, let's try to
Whoa.
keep civil.
Tell me, Lorelai, what have you been doing with your life anyway? Besides hating successful businessmen, I'm just curious.
Why don't we all go into the dining room?
Well, Strobe, I run an inn near Stars Hollow.
Really?
Yes, really.
Dad, come on.
Nice to see you found your calling.
Dinner's ready.
Christopher, your tie.
Mom, please.
And
Yeah.
is your life everything you hoped it would be?
Yes, it is.
Because it seems to me you might not want to take quite such a haughty tone when you announce to the world that you work in a hotel.
Well, there's nothing wrong with where I work.
Strobe, please, I'm getting a headache.
Come on, Richard. Lead us into the dining room now.
If
He
you
sees
attended
this
the
as his
university
chance.
as your parents had planned, and as we planned in vain for Christopher, you might have aspired to something more than a blue-collar position.
Don't do this.
And I wouldn't give a damn about you derailing your own life if you hadn't swept my son along with you.
Honey, go in the next room. Go.
Oh,
I'm going to
she
have
knows.
to echo Christopher's call for civility here. A mutual mistake was made many years ago by these two, but they've come a long way since.
A mutual mistake, Richard. This whole evening is ridiculous. We're supposed to sit here like one big happy family and pretend that the damage that was done is over, gone? I don't care about how good a student you say that girl is.
Hey.
Our son was bound for Princeton. Every Hayden male attended Princeton, including myself, but it all stopped with Christopher. It's a humiliation we've had to live with every day, all because you seduced him into ruining his life. She had that baby, and she ended his future.
Oh, no.
Can't that Strobe?
Spilling my drink!
You owe my daughter an apology.
An apology? That is rich.
How dare you? How dare you?
Richard, what
How
are you
dare you
doing?
come into my house and insult my daughter?
Let go of me.
Whoa, what is going on here?
Shame on you, Strobe. Shame on you for opening all of this up again.
Get your purse,
My
Francine.
daughter is very successful at what she does.
We're leaving.
You're not leaving. I'm kicking you out.
Whoa.
And you brought up Bush because...
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
I feel
I'm watching this and I'm going, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. Oh man, a lot of pent up hurt that hasn't gone spoken this entire time, right? Here's the issue with Strobe. Is it Strone? Strobe? Like strobe light? I don't know. What's this guy's name? Who knows? He needs to believe that his son is good. Why? Because he ties his worth to how his son has turned out. And his son making a decision to sleep with his girlfriend and her getting pregnant. I mean, this is the epitome of shaming the woman, right? She seduced him and had the baby and ruined his life as if his son wasn't thinking for himself and didn't make a decision. But Strobe needs to paint Lorelai as the villain so that his son can be the hero. So that he can be the hero, right? So that the father can be the hero. And this is a case of somebody who is selfish and self-centered who thinks that they're not. Strobe sees himself as a others-centered father. He sees himself as, I had a great future planned out for my son and it would have happened if not for Lorelai. He doesn't care what Christopher wanted or what Christopher wants now. All he cares about, he keeps saying, we were humiliated in front of our friends. We've carried it for years. He refuses to be redirected. He's got too much pent-up anger and too much pent-up blame. But it's all about what happened to him or to him and his wife. It's not about Rory. He doesn't give a damn about the existence of this beautiful, intelligent girl. He doesn't care about Lorelai as a person. This is very much a self-centered focus. And Richard getting up and getting in his face and putting hands on him, we've never seen Richard like this. He's usually calm, cool, collected, even disdainful or distant or apathetic. So for him to get fired up like this is something. And Lorelai is grateful.
Dad. Dad, can I get you something to eat?
I'm not hungry.
Okay. Well, look. Thank you.
Thank me for what?
Well, for what you did in there, I'm just unbelievably touched and grateful for what you said to him, for defending me like that. I know it was hard for you because, well, but thank you.
Why do you think I did it?
What?
Why do you think I did it?
I don't know.
Beautiful.
Out of protectiveness, I guess.
You don't need to be protected, Lorelai. You've made it very clear that you can look after yourself and that you need nothing from anyone.
That's not,
A member of my family was being attacked. The very Gilmore name was being attacked. I will not stand for that, not under any circumstances.
Okay, well, it doesn't really matter why you did it.
Yes, it does matter why I did it. It matters greatly. Lorelai, what are you going to take away from this? That everything that happened in the past is suddenly fine because I defended you?
No.
That the hell that you put your mother and me through for the past 16 years is suddenly washed away? Well, it's not.
We've all been through hell, Dad.
I had to tell my friends, my colleagues, that my only daughter, the brightest in her class, was pregnant and was leaving school.
That must have been devastating.
And then you run away and you treat us as lepers. Your mother couldn't get out of bed for a month. Did you know that? Did you?
No.
We did nothing to deserve that. Nothing to earn that.
I get it. I'm horrible. So why don't you disown me and adopt Christopher? You love him.
Don't be a martyr, Lorelai. Don't be naive. Do you think I love the boy who got my daughter pregnant?
Lorelai, for her part, has grown in a lot of ways. In forgiving her parents for being controlling, in forgiving her parents for their harsh judgments and criticism, for accepting them for who they are, and her stepping in and recognizing that her dad standing up for her was something that he never did before. She's expressing gratitude, she's being vulnerable, and it's coming from a really healthy place. And then when he starts to express his pent-up hurt, right, because she expected maybe a beautiful moment of him saying, you know, I will always stand up for you and I love you. And instead he counters with, why do you think I did it? And he wants her to really understand where he's coming from. This wasn't me protecting you per se. This wasn't me doing this out of love. This was me defending the family name, and that I'm not going to stand for disrespect. And I still hurt. And to Lorelai's credit, she doesn't get defensive immediately. To Lorelai's credit, she says that must have been incredibly difficult for you. When he starts talking these I statements, he starts talking about how embarrassing it was, how hard it was, and the things he had to tell his friends. And it's only when he doesn't soften, right? She's accountable and she's engaging in perspective taking, and he doesn't soften and he keeps going, that the walls come up, right? And Lorelai's walls are sarcasm. I get it. I'm terrible. Why don't you adopt Christopher? It's hard to stay in accountability and humility when people are railing on you. And for Richard, the reason he's railing is because he's held this in for 16 years. There is a healthy, calm, respectful way to have this conversation that isn't blaming, that is just saying, this was hard for me and this was hard for your mother. And I need you to understand that. I guess what I'd say is what he's saying is more or less okay, but the sheer venom and rage with which he's saying it is what she's reacting to. This is what happens when we bottle. And we bottle because we don't want to have the conversations, because we assume they'll go ugly. The great irony, though, is that when we bottle to avoid ugly confrontations, we create a self-fulfilling prophecy where the confrontations are inevitably ugly because we hold them in until they spill out, right? We just can't contain them anymore. And afterwards we say, that was horrible, and it feeds into the mentality of, I can't have those conversations because they're going to go ugly. No, it's not that the conversations are always going to go ugly. It's that you bottled it in until it spilled out.
So why don't you disown me and adopt Christopher? You love him.
Don't be a martyr, Lorelai. Don't be naive. Do you think I loved the boy who got my daughter pregnant? I wanted to kill him. I would have, too, with my bare hands. But there was a proper procedure to be followed in a situation like this.
Marriage.
Christopher was willing to follow the procedure we laid out. You weren't.
What about what I wanted? Dad, didn't that matter to you at all?
Sometimes one has to sacrifice something in order to do what is right.
I feel indescribably sad for you right now, Dad.
Yeah.
Well, save your emotions, Lorelai. I've had my fill of them tonight.
So, we just ended here? Nothing resolved?
I'm tired.
Okay. Okay.
I know a lot of people are critical of Lorelai, that she can be petty and she can be immature. And that's true. But in this scene, I think she shows great maturity because she wants to continue this conversation. She wants to resolve it. She wants to say what she was saying to her mother earlier, which is, I made my choices and I'm glad because the life that they led to is a life that I love. I love managing the inn. I love being a single mom to Rory. She's my best friend. And I'm happy, and I want you to be happy for me. And this whole society is very Jane Austen, this upper crust society of expectations, of sociality, of appearances, of politeness with an undercurrent of menace, right? And she wants to continue the conversation. And some of you would watch this, and I kind of look at this like, well, no, assert yourself, Lorelai. This is the moment. But she correctly reads that her father's not going to hear her. He is shut down. He's done for the night. He said his piece. Is that fair that he said his piece and she didn't say hers? No. Could she say her piece right now? Yeah. Would it land? Probably not. Far better to circle back around and to not avoid the conversation and just cover up the wound and let it fester, but to come back and say, Dad, I'd like to finish the conversation we were having 2 nights ago, right? But it's hard when we avoid, because small things become big things and big things become atomic bombs. I want to include this little counter scene of Emily and Rory, where Emily models something really beautiful.
There you are. I was wondering where you went.
I'm sorry.
No, it's nothing to be sorry about. Can I get you something?
I'm fine.
That's hardly dinner. Well, there was quite a bit of excitement tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Not the good kind.
Nope.
None of this means anything, Rory.
Oh, I know.
Strobe is actually a good man. Very smart. He was one of the top lawyers in his field. A very arcane aspect of international law. And he's always been so active in his community. His charity work has never diminished over the years. Oh, let's face it. He's a big ass. Rory, I know
Way to be
you've heard
real.
a lot of talk about various disappointments this evening. And I know you've heard a lot of talk about it in the past. But I want to make this very clear. You, young lady, your person and your existence have never, ever been, not even for a second, included in that list. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I do.
Good. Now eat up.
With Lorelai, there's a lot of animosity, hurt, and history for Emily to work through. And that's one of the reasons why we rarely see this side of Emily with Lorelai, although she honestly could show it. The fact is, Lorelai was Rory's age when she got pregnant. And so for all these people to be sitting around talking about the mistake that these two made years ago, and it's all judgment. I would say it's a decision. They made a decision. They made a choice. This is what happened. This is the reality now. We could choose to be a family. You two have a granddaughter. She's wonderful. We want you to see what we see. You could choose to say, well, this was painful, but they were kids, and we're adults, and we're all adults now. And what happened in the past is out of our control, but the present and the future we can determine. They could look at it like that. Instead, all of the grandparents are caught and trapped in their own pain. And the way to get untrapped from your own pain is to recognize that when people make decisions, those decisions make sense to them at the time. And trying to understand where they were coming from doesn't mean you condone or endorse or agree with the decision. It means you accept it. And it means you respect the other person's right to choose. A lot of healing could occur in this family if people would do that. But they don't. A lot of healing could occur in this family if, instead of carrying things inside out of propriety or fear that things would get ugly, people would release judgments, express compassion, and engage in perspective taking. If they could just do that, this family could heal. So here's my question for you. What do you do with the tough conversations that you don't want to have? How have you stepped into them? And has it gone badly or has it gone well? And why do you think that is? As much as you feel safe and comfortable to do so, let us know in the comments below. What Gilmore Girls moments would you like me to therapize? Also let me know, because I'm going to be working my way through the whole show. And if you're enjoying this, I've got a whole Gilmore Girls playlist for you to enjoy right here. Somewhere on screen. Until next time, folks, keep shining because we need your light.